Hey, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We are so pleased and honored to have an amazing lineup here on the Permashield panel. And I'd like to begin by thanking and introducing both Katie Mears, the Chief Marketing Officer at Permashield USA, who is in St. Augustine, Florida today, alongside Ed Roberts, the Fixed Ops Director at Bozard, Ford, Lincoln. Katie, so great to see you and Ed today.
Oh, it's awesome. And thank you for asking me to be here. This is an amazing group of panelists and quite different for me because normally I'm in the hot seat asking or being asked all the questions. But now I have all of you in the hot seat and I get to ask, between Ed and I, we get to ask you all the questions. And we have an amazing group of panelists today with us, and I'm going to do a quick introduction. So if you all could raise your hand when I say your name and your title so that everybody knows who you are and what you do. So we have Mike Vogel, who is a fixed ops coach and founding father of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We have Russ Mann, our one and only VP of Sales at Permashield. We have Adam Ahrens, who is the owner of the Patriot Group. And we have Heidi Withrow, service advisor for a Group 1 automotive location, an automotive store. And then we have Danny Jacobs and Aaron Duke, who are both partners in Diversified Automotive Solutions, as well as Danny is dealer principal for Chevrolet of Ottawa. So we have an amazing group of people, and I am not forgetting this man over here who's sitting next to me, Ed Roberts. Now, I'm going to put him in the hot seat very shortly, but first off, I wanted to let y'all know, everyone who's watching, Permashield wanted to hear from our customers. So we did an independent survey of the end users of our product. And we found it quite alarming that more than half of the customers out there don't know that 33% of all new vehicles don't have spare tires in them. So they will drive off the lot and have no idea that they don't have a spare tire if they get stranded on the side of the road. This is where Permashield comes into play, because that human that gets stranded on the side of the road who doesn't have a spare tire, waiting over 2.5 hours for roadside assistance and is in grave danger being on the side of the road, his or her safety is in danger. Permashield makes sure that they remain safe and that their tires stay intact and they can keep going on with their days. So Ed, Permashield, so important for this industry and your customers.
There's never a good time for a customer to be stuck on the side of the road, and time is most important to them. And we never plan a lot of time, extra time into our day, and you got 10 minutes to pick up the kids from daycare, or we got to get to soccer practice. We don't have time for a flat tire. Don't have time to be sitting on the side of the road. And I've really learned a lot about Permashield in the last couple of months and watched the demo today, and it's an amazing product. But the one that introduced it to me is no other than Russ Mann. Russ Mann, why don't you tell me a little bit about Permashield?
Thank you very much, Ed. We certainly appreciate the opportunity. I have to tell everybody I had the honor to tour this Ford Lincoln Mercury store Ford Lincoln store that Ed is so graciously given us an opportunity to demo the product with him today. And I'm actually sitting in his chair. It is an absolute honor, and I appreciate it very much. But to Permashield's world, we know that dealer profits are being compressed every day. We've lost $400 in front-end gross profit in the last 3 years alone. We know that every single dealer is getting bombarded with the same old kind of products. They see the same thing in a different spin, same thing in another spin. Permashield is completely revolutionary. No matter which way you spin it, this product really generates a lot of value for the customer. Every second in the day, 7 flat tires are occurring. Because there's so many flat tires in America, every single one of your customers has experienced that pain and that anguish of having to deal with a flat tire. So Permashield is absolutely honored to be here. We love the roundtable and can't wait to see what the rest of the panelists
Thanks so much, Russ. I mean, it's true. There is quite a bit of problem that is solved with the Permashield product, but let's talk a little bit about profitability. So we do have a couple of dealers on the panel with us, but let's go to Adam Ahrens. I'd love to know, from a dealer perspective, what Permashield can do to pave that path, as we like to call it, the path or the road to $1 million. How do we help you and your fellow colleagues be profitable?
There's different ways for each of the dealers to take the product and use it, either through a pre-install, selling it through F&I, or selling it in their service lane. But I think you have to start with this view of, we're all in the tire business, but we're not so much just like a tire dealer because we don't do everything that they do. Permashield gives us an opportunity to do the full circle. That is A, prevent failure, B, correct failure, and then C, maintain the vehicle. So there's an opportunity when you get a chance to tell the story of the danger and the safety ramifications of somebody getting a flat tire. For many people, it hasn't happened in a while, but if they can remember when it did, it never happened at a convenient place or time. And nowadays, safety being what it is, it's so important. So there's an opportunity to replace some lost gross in F&I. There's an opportunity to replace lost gross in the front end, and there's an opportunity to become the entire tire dealer to the customer in the service lane if they don't already have the product. So all of those lead to what you call the road to $1 million. And it's not something that will happen overnight, but it is something that you can aim towards, but it's an easy fix and an easy product to install.
That's awesome. And I'm going to throw one in here for you. I know that Russ was out at one of your locations. How was the feedback from that demo?
So everybody liked the product. They still certainly had some questions, but in this meeting that I had this morning, we talked about it. I said, run flats were a great idea. The problem is that the tires lasted about 10,000 miles, and everybody who's in the car business knows that. Led to a customer complaint, maybe some goodwill, and then they found out that those tires were $400 a piece. This gives you an opportunity for somebody to run regular tires, get all the benefits of run flat, not have that spare tire waiting down the car, and that's really where everybody saw it as a positive. The issue is when are you going to sell it? Because doing it is the easy part. Giving them the benefit is the easy part, but you got to get paid for doing it. So we're still trying to figure out what the best way for us to do that is. And I don't really believe that you should have 6 or 7 items on your menu, but it'll certainly be on our lease menu where there's a great opportunity where people are trying to get a car that produces the least amount of hassle. So this is it's a natural for people who keep their cars actually a short period of time.
Awesome. Thank you. Now we know, as you said, there's the run flat tires of the world, but there's also a few of tire goos out there, right? There's Monster Seal, Slime, Fix-A-Flat, all these adhesive-based tire, goos, because that's what they are. They're really gooey and they are sticky. Permashield differs a lot from that. And so I'm going to throw this over to you, Danny. Let me know how Permashield differs from all the other tire goos out on the market.
Sure. Thanks a lot, guys. Permashield's an amazing product. It does not mess up your TPSM sensors in any way. We've done multiple tests at our facility here at my dealership at the Chevy store. We have dismounted a tire. There's no product, no goop, no anything on the wheel itself or the tire pressure monitors. Everything else is an adhesive-based type product. It ruins the wheel. It's like glue or sticks to everything. You cannot use your tire pressure monitors in any way, shape, or form. So there's no other products that even come close to doing or acting or being like this that I've seen on the market in the 30 years I've been in the wheel industry. We fell in love with it. We tried to break it at my dealership, which pushed me into the situation where I got to be a part of this program. I had a piece of another store, a Mazda store, and I actually gave it up to do this. We closed a couple weeks ago. I felt so strongly about this product. To me, it was safety, service, peace of mind, cost value benefit analysis, and it all equaled profit and benefits on my people, my customers, my employees, any fleets you have. There was nothing I've ever seen like this product.
Awesome. That's amazing. And we love having you as part of the team. I mean, we talk a lot and I think you just did a video out there that shows 28 screws in the tire with no leaks. Is that correct?
Yeah, I actually stole that video, but yes, one of your guys did, and I posted that up on our site. It's just amazing. But we've done the same thing. We put screws in it. We've put nails in it. We fixed a plug tire that didn't hold, and then put Permashield in it to reseal it. And it sealed that. We've tried to break it. Any real road issue, it hasn't failed.
And it doesn't, which is amazing. And if it does, we do have a 3-year guarantee,
Right.
which means you really do have full peace of mind. So I told you, Ed, that I'd put you on the hot seat a number of times. And so I am going to turn it over to you. When we're talking about the product, your techs just installed it in a few vehicles. What was their feedback?
Feedback's been strong, and I want to touch on a couple things. Dan sold a dealership to be a part of this, so that's certainly some high belief, and he's been involved in it a little bit longer than I have. I've seen it demoed for the first time today, and it's an amazing product. And then Adam touched on the preventative piece. It prevents a flat tire. It saves you after you have a flat tire. It prevents you from having an issue. But so those kind of things kind of tie into the next element. And really, Mike, you're kind of known as the retention guy, and you coach dealers how to hang on to customers rather than lose customers. How does this tie in with retention?
Well, I think most of you have covered a lot of the things I wanted to discuss. So let me see how I can put an additional positive spin on the product and how it works. So one of the three key words I talk about when it comes to retention is trust, value, and convenience. If you can do those three well and consistently, you're probably going to be very successful in retaining your customers. So when we talk about convenience in today's world is a big deal for every one of us. And anything we can do to alleviate problems is a good thing, a positive thing. And that's where Permashield comes in. We stop the flat tire from happening in the first place. So I look at it, here's a good example that I came up with, which is what do we do in our day-to-day lives to prevent things? Let's look at health. We take vitamins, we exercise, we try to eat right so that we stay healthy. We put on sunscreen when we're outside in the sun, so we try to prevent skin cancer. Why not put Permashield in your tires and prevent those flat tires from happening in the first place? Adam touched on that, Dan touched on that. So, those are definitely conveniences as well as value. Everybody's kind of touched on it, and I have to agree 100%. The last thing that we want to be is stuck on the side of a road with a flat tire, whether it's daytime, nighttime, weekends. You've got roadside assistance. Russ and I spoke the other day, and because a lot of OEMs now offer roadside assistance when you purchase a car, waiting 2 hours for a tow truck is not a good thing. And Adam touched on the run flats, and not only was he 100% correct about them wearing out quickly, very expensive to replace, but they also didn't ride well. And I've got Permashield in my Prius tires, and it drives exactly the same with the Permashield in there as it did prior to it being in there. So there's no difference whatsoever other than the fact that I have the confidence to drive around and not get a flat tire. The other thing I don't think anybody's discussed as far as a value is, when I bought my Prius, it doesn't come with a spare tire, as we've talked about. How much is a spare tire in the average car? $400, $500 when you're talking about a full-size wheel and tire? That's a lot of money just for something to be sitting in the trunk, taking up space. And I can't speak for every make and model out there, but my Prius, because it's a plug-in, it's got the electric battery in the back, it has very little trunk space to begin with. So if I was to put a spare tire back there, I'd have virtually nothing, no room to carry anything. And then the last thing, we talk about is trust. So it comes with a 3-year unlimited warranty. That's peace of mind. Up until the tire is 230 seconds, which is the minimum that it should be before you replace it. Russ alluded to the fact that Permashield now has a patent that speaks volumes about the quality of the product and the quality of the company. And so long-term, from a fixed op standpoint, the service department sells this product to their customers. It's another reason for them to come back and service their vehicle with you. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Yes, profitability, but profitability can be obtained from different ways. It can be through fixed ops, it can be through sales. So this is just one more avenue for the dealership to set yourself apart from the tire shops and even other dealerships for that matter. So.
Well, thank you for sharing, and it's really, as I said, important, and as you just said, and everybody hit on it, the time, the convenience, the value, and earning that trust with your customers and keeping that trust is important to the overall retention, and I think Permashield does just that. Now, Aaron, we haven't called you to the hot seat yet, or Heidi, but both of you will be called very shortly. But Aaron, let's talk about a little bit about F&I and how important it is to be successful and profitable in the F&I selling ancillary products. How does Permashield stack up against other products like wheel and tire policies, paint protection, or fabric guards?
Well, I think it's huge, and it's a great opportunity to add some extra gross, of course. And of course, everyone in finance wants to add as much gross as they can. It's kind of quote unquote free money for the dealer. So everyone's always looking for that. But what sets it apart, every other product, paint and fabric, tire and rim, even the mechanical policies, it's all for after the fact. And it's really kind of for the car. Although, yes, it benefits the customer. Yes, they save money. It's always after the fact, and it's something to help or go onto the car, not necessarily the consumer. I would want my dad to have it. He's in his 80s. I don't want him on the side of the road. I have a car. I have no spare tire in my Volvo. I have it in my vehicle. I have it in my mom's horse trailers because she hauls livestock. So I think it makes it very relevant because everyone has a different reason why they may want it. And it's not just to protect after the fact. It's not to be on the side of the road. It's not to wait for roadside. It's just that peace of mind and protection for the person, not necessarily the vehicle.
That is definitely a differentiator behind any other product that we try to sell, definitely in the box. But let's head over to you.
Yes, I want to talk a little bit more because we've talked about a lot of things with preventative, but no news is good news. And when you prevent something, you don't necessarily hear that you prevented it because it just happened. But nobody's ever pulled in my service drive, and I don't think they've pulled in Heidi's service drive either. She's frontline, happy that they had a flat tire, happy that their car's broke. So preventing that is ultimately key. But what do you see, Heidi? Do you have it in your vehicle?
Yes, Ed. I was lucky enough to receive some product this past week that Russ had sent to me. And it took me maybe 10, 15 minutes with a water break to install. And I drove home and no problems, couldn't feel it after the initial maybe mile, if that. And I feel that this product can be really valuable to my customers coming in for service because, like everybody here has mentioned, it's preventative and nobody is going to plan for a flat tire. And I know I could speak for my customers when time is going to be the most important thing here. And especially working at a high-end dealership, most of my customers, they don't have time to even bring their vehicles in for service. Most of the time, we're having to pick them up. And yeah, I can definitely see myself recommending this to them. And based
Does it change your confidence level now that you have it in your tires?
Oh yeah, definitely. Living in El Paso, I travel a lot from California originally. So we travel back to California, and that's definitely something that is always in my mind. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. I don't want to get stuck on the side of the road, having to worry about changing a tire, on the highway. So definitely.
Land of Orange Cone, and Adam can relate to this. We're always under construction. I'm sure some of you guys are as well, not just in the neighborhoods, but on the roads. And that's where all that debris is picked up and these issues are caused. So if you can prevent that, an ounce of prevention, it pays dividends in more ways than one.
Well, let's talk about how it actually does pay dividends in your perspectives. I mean, we have amazing individuals on this panel with a ton of tenure in the industry. And I'm going to take a page out of Liza Borges' book when I did the female panel for Ted's last Fixed Ops Roundtable. And we're going to do a lightning round. And so in 30 seconds, each of you, we will start with Heidi, and I will call out your names as we keep going. But in 30 seconds or less, let's tell everyone on the panel why Permashield is a product to watch. So why should we watch out for it, and why do you stand behind it, or why should a dealer have it in their dealership for their customers? All right, Heidi, you got 30 seconds.
Okay, so I feel that this is a no-brainer. It's not damaging your wheels, your sensors, and it's giving you the peace of mind of not having to worry about a flat tire in your day-to-day activities.
Awesome. Russ.
So really for me, what makes this the product to watch really boils down to a retention piece. So every time a consumer gets a flat tire, they don't come back to the dealer. They go to their nearest tire retailer, right? So if you have a customer that's protected with Permashield, they don't have to really deal with it. If they notice that they have a nail or a screw stuck in their tire, they go, oh, wow, I'm not losing any air pressure. But at the same time, they're like, oh, wow, I should probably get that checked. But I got Permashield, so I know I'm good. So at my convenience as a consumer, I get the chance now to go back to the dealership because the dealership is the one that installed it in the first place. So instead of having to rush around and create all this tension and this angst from having a flat tire, now it's the peace of mind to go, oh, I have Permashield. Okay, I can take a deep breath, I can move forward, and on Saturday morning, I'll stop by the store to the dealership, and I'll have it looked at just to make sure, right? Creates peace of mind, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Russ. How about you, Danny and Aaron? You can have 30 seconds each if you'd like.
Okay, for me, as a dealer principal, I look at the safety, the profitability, the security for my customers, the retention for my business, the peace of mind for my customers. There's a cost, value, and benefit analysis that we do with everything, and it equals out to a profit center for my finance department and my service department. There's nothing out there like it at all, and it's a revolutionary product that we can stand behind 100%.
I think it's very important because it starts to set the bar for something new. So many customers coming into the dealership are used to buying something that maybe didn't work for them or that they never saw the benefit in. And this they can see. The advertising starting out there. You're starting to see videos, Facebook pages, that sort of thing. So it's something that they can watch and follow and start to see the benefits. Where I think typically sometimes in the dealership, unfortunately, they just don't gather the benefit of something that they've bought or something that they've had performed service, and they can actually see and feel the benefits of it.
Fantastic. Adam?
So I want to talk a little bit about relationships, right? So we want to save all the relationships we have so that we can continue to grow. And you can't go backwards to go forwards. And one of the breaking points with cars where we are specifically with Subaru is that they're all-wheel drive. And in an all-wheel drive car, if you have a tire with 6 30-seconds and the rest have 8 30-seconds, you get to buy 4 tires. So this could actually stop that from happening, right? So we've shaved tires in the past. That can stop that from happening. So when you replace 1, you replace 4. So what you want to do is avoid having to replace 1 is really the game. And that's where Permashield really falls into place. And so when we run into that and you tell somebody in their first Subaru or their first all-wheel drive vehicle that they have a flat tire and it's going to be $1,100, that's a breaking point in your relationship because they might take some responsibility for the flat, but they certainly don't take responsibility for $1,100. So the beauty of all-wheel drive is it'll probably save your life. The bad thing is that your tires all have to wear evenly.
Wow. Well, yeah, definitely. And so not only are you saving the money for your customer, but you're definitely keeping them back and holding on to that relationship. Mike, that goes right into all your specialties. Let's talk about your 30 seconds. What do people need to know?
So I believe that the Permashield product covers my 3 key components to retention being trust, value, and convenience. The value and convenience being stopping the flat from happening in the first place, or spending tons of money on a spare tire where I still have to wait for roadside assistance, or I didn't bring it up earlier, but how many people even know how to change a tire today? I mean, when I was growing up, I learned from my dad, but I doubt very many people know nowadays. So it covers all three components. It gives the customer a reason to come back to my service department and continue doing business with me, and I've earned their trust because the product works.
All right, last but not least, Ed.
I think I'm going to save the best for last because you're going to be last.
Oh,
You're going to give her 30 seconds as well.
Oh, no, I'm the moderator. I'm not on the hot seat. You are.
So a couple things that I picked up on today as we did our demo here is all of my guys bought into it and they believe in the product because they're fixing flat tires all the time. So they know that it happens. And then the next thing is it was easy for them to install. It was easy for them to calculate how much they needed and easy for them to put it in the vehicle and easy for them to confirm that it has taken effect and done what it needed to do. Everyone knows it can happen to them. So if you talk it, you can sell it. It builds value. And the last thing, convenience is key. Mm-hmm. People don't rebuy that same automobile because it broke down on them 5 times. They buy another one because it was reliable for them. It did what they needed to do. Same thing here. Preventing the flat tire is key. It's convenience. Katie?
Oh, all right. So I'm going to be put on the hot seat. All right. I would say from a customer experience background, from a female consumer, as a female consumer expert, women make over 60% of all service decisions for their vehicles. And so as a woman, the number one thing is you want to feel safe. And when you talk, Mike, about how many people know how to change a flat tire? Well, the number skyrockets, or I should say plummets, to how many women know how to change a flat tire. And if they've got babies in the back seat, they definitely don't want that. So I would say that from a perspective of a female consumer who is the most influential consumer of the world, Permashield is that peace of mind for her and her kids and her family. So, I mean, I feel blessed to be a part of a team and a product like this because it really is about keeping people safe and protecting them.
Great job, everybody. I'm hearing trust, value, convenience, the customer relationship, and Russ, that peace of mind. So what a great time for Permashield to be in the industry and here at the Tire Summit at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'd like to thank everybody on our panel today. Heidi, I'd like to thank Danny and Aaron for being here. I'd like to thank Russ Mann for being with us again today. Mike Vogel, the Fixed Ops coach. Michael, thank you so much. Adam Aarons, dealer principal at the Patriot Auto Group. Adam, thank you so much today. And I'd like to go ahead and I'd like to thank Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln, and of course, Katie Mears from Permashield USA. Thank you, everybody. Great panel, and I appreciate everything you did today. By the way, Katie, best place to reach you is how?
Katie at teampermashield.com. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything, don't hesitate to reach out. We're here for you.
In fact, the entire panel is available in the Q&A. If you'd like to go ahead and pose some questions to Katie or to Ed Roberts or to Adam or Mike Vogel or Danny or Russ, Aaron, or Heidi, please go ahead. They'll be here. So go ahead and ask away, and we look forward to it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, Ted, it's always great to hear from our panel of experts from the Permashield panel. But now we're going to another expert, our good friend Ken Lohr from DealerLaw.com.
That's right, Gene. Ken Lohr is the Director of Retail Warranty Reimbursement at Bellavia Blatt PC, DealerLaw.com. Ken, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted. Thanks, Gene. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here again. Thank you.
No, we're so honored to have you. And I thought this time we would have maybe more of a conversation around retail warranty reimbursement and, you know, some of the myths, Ken, that are out there, and some of the unknowns, you know, some of the questions that people have. So if you don't mind, let's just, you know, go back and forth here a little bit. Maybe just start off with the definition. What is retail warranty reimbursement?
Well, you know, retail warranty reimbursements history really stems from the manufacturers deciding what to pay their dealers for their warranty claims. So this has been going on since the beginning of time in the dealership world. So the manufacturers determine what was the correct labor rate in your market, what was the correct parts markup, that sort of thing. So after many years of dealers kind of being treated that way by the manufacturers, they said, hey, listen, why can't we receive what we receive from everybody else for our warranty claims? So hence about 30 plus years ago, the history of retail warranty reimbursement really started about then, and some states started to implement statutes that really entitled the dealer to receive their retail markup and their retail rates for warranty claims. So that's the history. So that's really the difference between what dealers receive today from the manufacturer and what they could receive. It's retail pricing.
And Ken, we're talking about, this is the biggest customer that the dealership has.
Absolutely. It's the manufacturer is the largest customer, and it's the most meaningful customer, of course. So it brings in probably the most revenue of any of your customers. So it's very meaningful when you move from what the manufacturer pays you and what retail pricing truly is at your dealership.
So from what I know, okay, most dealerships will request a labor rate increase from the manufacturer every year.
Right.
So what's different about what Bellavia Blatt does for their clients?
Well, we all know us fixed ops guys, and I was one too. So every year we would go back to the manufacturer and we'd say, hey, you know, we've had a cost of living increase. We've had this increase. We need to get more for our labor. So the manufacturer would say, okay, we'll fill this out, review 50 repair orders, survey all the dealers in your market area, send it all back to us, and we'll get back to you. So that's the typical process. And the manufacturer reviews all the materials that you spent hours gathering, and then they ultimately decide what they're going to give you anyway. And usually it doesn't equate to what you even asked for, or what the numbers show that you should get. So the difference now is, with statutes on the books in 48 states, you establish what your retail markup is for parts and what your retail labor rate is based on the criteria of the statute. And the manufacturer has to pay you that by law. So they don't get to decide that anymore. You control it. It's in your control. So that's the big difference.
Ken, who's eligible to receive retail pricing for warranty claims?
Well, any dealership in those 48 states. So there's only 2 states today that don't have statutes on the books. That's Tennessee and Mississippi. So we'd love to see for that to change, because there's plenty of dealers in those 2 states that could really use that extra revenue. But in 48 states, essentially, all those dealers are entitled to receive retail pricing. And again, in years past, when the manufacturer would review your request, it was only for labor. It was never for parts. Never.
That's right.
So the only increase you could ever get was a labor increase. And usually it equated to maybe a CPI increase. It's nominal. But forever and ever, most of us have received cost plus 40 for our parts, when in reality, we're selling our parts at the retail level for cost plus 70, 80%, or sometimes even more. So it's market driven, of course, but the point is, we haven't received close to what we've always received from our customers.
So walk me through it briefly. Just describe the process that you would go through with the dealership.
Well, again, you know, every state is different, but generally speaking,
a
global view, the process is similar. So the 100 repair order sequence is what drives your rates, is what drives the calculation. So we call that 100 qualified repair orders. So you need to mine your database, your repair order database, to get those qualified repair orders. And a qualified repair order is simply a repair order that the manufacturer would pay for had the vehicle been under warranty, if the vehicle were still under warranty. So for example, if a customer came through your service drive and they had a leaking water pump, well, that's something that the manufacturer would pay for under the basic warranty. So that would be one of those qualified repair orders. And there are repair orders that you don't count. Those are the things that the manufacturer would not pay for. So we call those like repairs. So basically, a warranty-like repair is what drives the calculation. So in order to do that, you have to mine much greater number than 100 repair orders to get those qualified repair orders. So typically, we look at anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 repair orders.
We'll have to find those
100 qualified, right? So it's a very time-consuming and tedious process. So that's kind of the general overview of what we do. But again, it's a statutory process. So you have to follow the law. You have to follow the rules. And if you don't, and you make that submission to the manufacturer, of course, they'll reject it. So
well, you're kind of answering my next question, because I was going to ask you, isn't this something the dealership can do themselves?
Well, you know, we always say that this little phrase, don't try this at home. It's not that the average fixed ops guy is not capable of doing this, but just imagine we spend 40 plus hours working on one submission. And remember, there's two submissions to the puzzle. You have parts and you have labor. Those are separate submissions. So does the dealership general or fixed operations manager or somebody they designate in the store, maybe the warranty administrator or maybe the parts manager, do they really have 80 hours worth of uninterrupted time to do something like that and do it mistake-free? Because there's pitfalls wherever you go in this process. So you have to know the statute, you have to know the law, you have to know what the process is and what the expectations are from the manufacturer. So in order to satisfy all those, mistake-free is a very, very large challenge. And
it's a task all to itself.
Right. So that's why we say don't try it at home, because when you do this and you make your submission, if you make a mistake and the manufacturer rejects it, you don't get another chance to do it over again. You can't correct your submission. And in most states, you can only file once a year. So the manufacturer says, well, hey, it was nice seeing you this year, Ted. Come back next year and try again.
Well, that leads me actually to my next question. How often, I'm a dealer, how often, generally speaking, can I do this? And is it just a one-time event?
No, it's dynamic. So you can do this in most states once a year. Some states it's twice a year. And there's a few that don't have any time limits. You can do it as often as you want. But generally speaking, once a year. Sometimes it's a calendar year. So a calendar year simply means, hey, I can file December 31st of 2020. Then I can refile January 1st, 2021, because that's a calendar year. So there's different nuances to the language in each statute, but generally speaking, once a year.
You know, there's politics in most everything, in every business, in every company, in every structure. What about retaliation? Let's say a dealer wants to do this, but has a fear that somewhere down the line, there's going to be some kind of, you know, true or untrue retaliation from the manufacturer. Right.
Unspoken or subtle retaliation. And that's a logical assumption and a great question, because
they withhold that new model that I want to get, or these.
Right. You don't give me that new Corvette. I don't get my allocation, those types of things. So you would think that could happen. And I guess it could, but in most statutes, there is actual language that protects you from the manufacturer retaliating. And I can tell you from experience, I have never seen it. Does it exist? Maybe. I just haven't seen it in 20 years. And Bellavia Blatt, Len Bellavia, has been in this business for a long time, and he will tell you he has never seen it. So we feel that it's not an issue. And frankly, with most states having statutes on the books for many, many years, that train has left the station. It's normal business for the manufacturer to look at these submissions. So I would say that a long-winded answer is no.
You mentioned Len Bellavia, you know, and the Bellavia Blatt reputation really precedes you. I remember growing up in northern New Jersey, the Bellavia Buick dealership over in East Rutherford, not far from where I went to high school. You've got a great reputation, and I know you specialize in dealership legal issues, and I've seen a lot of the cases that you've been successful with. How long have you been doing the retail warranty reimbursement?
Well, it's pretty interesting because Len Bellavia, like you said, he's a pioneer in the industry, very well respected attorney that only works with automotive dealerships. We do some motorsports and some marine, but generally anything with an engine or a motor, that's the type of legal work that we do. So I've known personally of Len Bellavia for 30 years. I've been in the business for 40 years, so that kind of dates me. But I came to Len to work with Len because of his reputation, his stellar reputation in the legal area. I'm not an attorney, but I'm an attorney wannabe, and there's no greater place to work for somebody like me than Bellavia Blatt, because we specialize in that type of law, and he's a pioneer in that. So we were one of the first to do retail warranty submissions. So it's just a great firm to work for and to work with. And if you're contemplating doing this, you could find no better firm to do it than Bellavia Blatt.
I know you are the dealer's advocate. That's what you are known as. And it's so important in so many ways. What differentiates Bellavia Blatt? Because there's other companies out there that, that do this or claim to do this. What makes you folks different?
The first thing that makes it different is it is a legal process. It's a statutory process. So we are a law firm. So logically, it makes sense when you're doing this type of work and it's a statutory process that a legal firm does it. So that's number one. Number two, we are fixed ops people. Even though Len Bellavia is an attorney, like you said, he grew up in the car business, just like you and I did. We are all fixed ops people. So we know the business. We have a team of analysts that have deep experience in the fixed ops area. Most of our analysts are former fixed ops directors, parts managers, service managers, warranty administrators. So all of us know the business, including myself. I have a pretty deep fixed ops background as well. So we speak the language. We know what we can do and what we can't do, both legally and technically. So we have both backgrounds. We have the legal background and the technical background. So that's what really separates us.
And I know a lot of dealerships enjoy working with your firm, because you've got that. You've walked in, those retail shoes, and your team has done that as well. I got to also say this. I've heard it said that Bellavia Blatt is the flat rate provider of retail warranty reimbursement. Explain that. What does it mean?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because we charge our customers a reasonable and what we call a flat fee. And we had to be known as a flat fee provider because there's other providers that do it on a contingency basis. So some of those providers charge a flat fee plus a percentage of the increase that you get for the next 12 months. We don't believe that's a fair way of doing business. We believe that we should be compensated for what we do and the work we do. So I don't think that we should be a dealership's partner. That's their revenue. It's not our revenue. So we charge a reasonable flat fee. So we become known as the flat fee provider. We don't take a percentage of your business to do that type of work. And we're really proud of that, by the way.
That's very fair. All right. So I'm a dealer. I'm a fixed ops director, service manager, parts director. What's the first steps in getting in touch with you? Reach out to you. I see your number. We have your phone number on the bottom of the screen. The dealer website, dealerlaw.com. You'll do what? You'll set up a consultation with them?
Yeah, absolutely. Unlike a lot of law firms, we don't have the hourglass on my desk and turn it over when we're on the phone. So the phone call is free. We consult with you. I consult with you personally. We look at your business and we work with you to maximize the results. So the best way to get a hold of me is on the number that's scrolling on your screen, or you can get a hold of me at Lohr, Lohr, at dealerlaw.com. I answer my emails pretty much like everybody does, 24/7, 365. So that's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me.
You're very, very responsive. Everyone, Ken Lohr from Bellavia Blatt, dealerlaw.com. Nothing more important than your biggest customer at your dealership to make sure that you are receiving what is rightfully yours. So, Ken, thank you very much. And by the way, we're so proud to be partnering with you and with Len Bellavia and your organization on the Dealers versus Cancer Challenge. We're raising and helping raise $50,000 right now through NADA, which will be in February of next year. So we're so happy to be part of that, and we want to go ahead and make sure that that happens.
And we appreciate that, Ted and Gene, all your help on that project, and everybody that has given so far. We really appreciate it. It's really important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken, a great friend of the Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ken. And Ted, we still have a big show ahead of us, including our afternoon keynote speaker. And here to tell us more is DeLaine.
Well, that was a great conversation we had with Ken Lohr at Bellavia Blatt. I learned a whole lot about warranty processing. You know, Kara, the warranty, which is the manufacturer, is the biggest customer that the dealership has in the service and parts department.
Wow.
So we got to be, you know, conscious of our rates, and, you know, Ken gave us some really good information on that. So who do we have coming up?
Up next, we have Kevin Kulma from Fixed Ops Digital. Then we have MyKaarma panel, and then Heath Mayer and David Spisak from Serve Automotive.
Cool.
And I'm so excited to watch some of these. Who is the mayor? Hope he's better than Mayor Quimby. And MyKaarma. Isn't 2020 the year of MyKaarma? Every morning I wake up, no! And who's this guy, Warren? Who's Warren? You keep talking about warranty. I have no idea who this guy is. Somebody tell me.
No, Homer, that's the warranty on the car after you buy it. Okay, like, you know, some places have a lifetime warranty. Okay, there's sometimes a warranty that runs out at these other dealerships.
I don't know what he's talking about. Who's this Warren? I've got to find out. No.
What if you could make a phone call and collect $100,000 to $150,000 a year by obtaining retail rates on both warranty parts and labor? Sound too good to be true? We do all of the work for your dealership. We are the pioneers in retail reimbursement and regarded as the industry leader amongst dealers, accountants, and state dealer associations nationwide. And we don't share in your new profits. You keep it all. Your service managers and parts managers are busy. They have a job to do. Leave it up to the experts. We offer a turnkey solution. Your manufacturer won't know you retained a law firm. Our firm has made thousands of submissions and has collected hundreds of millions of dollars for our clients in over 45 states. Because of our unmatched experience, our results yield the highest possible increases. We offer a low flat fee, never a contingency fee. Our fees are much lower than non-attorney consultants who take a percentage of your added profits. We are lawyers. This is legal work. Your state statute controls the outcome. The factories rely on their lawyers to respond. So let us level the playing field. Bottom line, thousands of dealers have selected Bellavia Blatt for their retail warranty submissions. With our low flat fee, expert reputation, and behind-the-scenes work model, we are your best choice.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Gene Girdley along with Ted Ings, and our next guest is a first-time presenter, but the company he co-founded is a regular and key difference maker to so many of our dealer partners.
Gene, it's a great honor to have with us today Kevin Kulma, who is not just the co-founder, but the chief operating officer of Fixed Ops Digital. Kevin, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you very much, Ted. Gene, I'm really excited to be here today. You know, obviously you guys always get to hear Owen speak, but obviously, hopefully I can be a really good pinch hitter for him on this edition of the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
You know, we really enjoy the data and the presentations that Owen has shared from your company with the Roundtable. And so many of our dealers have, sought after. This is one of the most sought after segments of the entire session. So I know we're in good hands. So Kevin, take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining me today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Again, my name is Kevin Kulma, co-founder and chief operating officer of Fixed Ops Digital, and obviously, working with the theme of the tire summit for the Fixed Ops Roundtable. What we wanted to do was talk to you a little about some tire data and some tire information that we've seen and we've learned over these last few years at Fixed Ops Digital. So with that being said, we always start with this question, right? Is obviously we talk about consumer defection, right? It's such a huge scenario. So the question is what late model ownership services most accurately predict customer loyalty? And when we start talking about that, really the conversation might not reflect customer loyalty, but from a defection standpoint, tires is the major defection point as it relates to consumers either A, leaving warranty and then going to the independents, or B, shopping around for pricing as it relates to tires, right? So 40, 50,000 miles, tire, popping a tire on a nail, which is a huge issue in Chicago, obviously with the potholes. But what we learned over these last few years, and this was given to us by the FCA. So the business centers for Mopar FCA were really instrumental in us really understanding tires and how it actually impacts car sales, right? So we've done a really nice job from a sales to service scenario. And then obviously bringing it full circle, service to sales and that entire life cycle. Well, this FCA study that they did a couple of years ago, one thing that they found is 50% of the consumer defections that occur when a consumer gets their service from the franchise dealership, ultimately over to, and then migrating over to the dealership, to the independents of the world, 57% of the time, it occurs based on tire sales. Now, one thing that they found that was really interesting, and this was probably one of my favorite stats, is 72% of the time when a consumer buys a set of 4 tires on their current vehicle, they end up buying their next vehicle at that dealership. So, Ted, Gene, when we start talking about the selling of tires, is it necessarily just to make a profit, or is it to retain that actual consumer, right? As we've all heard the stats, NADA, the cost of actually a conquest car sale is going up and up and up. That's a real problem in our business, that you're spending more and more money year after year to actually bring in new people to the dealership. But now when you talk about the idea of selling tires, if the consumer is 3 times more likely to buy their vehicle from your dealership, if they actually end up buying a set of 4 tires from you, wouldn't that be a good place to actually allocate some marketing dollars, or at least some marketing presence to? So what we did was, when we started hearing these stats, we decided to look for ourselves 75 dealership websites all across the country. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to look at a couple different scenarios. How many pages of tire content were actually on the dealers' websites? How many dealers with no content whatsoever, what their average rank inside of Google was, and more, and the biggest thing is it duplicated content, right? Because duplicated content, as we know, Google has told us they want to provide dealerships and their websites to consumers that are actually searching for a specific answer. And they want to do that by actually showing the best and most relevant content, not necessarily duplicated across hundreds of other sites. So be prepared to actually hold on to your socks, Ted, because when you start seeing these scenarios and seeing this data, it's pretty alarming. Out of the 75 dealerships that we ended up looking at, on average, the dealership only had 1.9 pages or 1.7, excuse me, 1.7 pages of tire content on their website. Now, the dealers with no content, meaning there was no page that talks about tires, there wasn't even a word inside their entire website that actually used the word tires, 19 of those. The average rank in Google when somebody searched OEM tires for sale and inside their city and state. So obviously, like if you actually are in Chicago Ford, if I was to look for Ford tires in Chicago, Illinois, the average rank was 92. So not the 9th position on page 1, page 9 in the 2nd position. And then ultimately 81% of those had duplicated content. So going back to that idea that the consumer is more likely to purchase their next vehicle, 72% more, if they purchase a set of 4 tires from you, what is that actually telling us? It's telling us that tire sales can slow the defection rate, and more specifically, we might not need to actually spend as much money continuously bringing in new customers into our dealership to sell new cars. So from a scenario that we can actually all work towards, what are some best practices? What are some pages that we can actually work off of? The one page that Fixed Ops Digital does, and we do it for almost every single one of our dealers, is the good, better, best page. We either do it based on model or based on tire manufacturer. We give the consumer that ability to see what a good, better, best pricing is, what it costs to do a tire rotation, alignment service, set of 4 tires installed. And the idea is really to educate the consumer to ensure that they understand, hey, for my Toyota Camry, I know what the price is for the best model as it relates to this particular car brand or this particular model. And what that will do is at least give you a competitive stake when you start looking at, I'm looking for Toyota tires for sale in Delaware, Ohio. You want to be there, and you do not want to allow your consumers or your customers, to defect to the Pep Boys, to the Jiffy Lubes, to the Midases, and the 50 plus independents that are constantly popping up in and around our dealerships. So what
makes a whole lot of sense.
So with that,
go ahead.
Yes. So with that being said, do you have any questions, Ted? Is there something that I can actually kind of answer more in depth?
You can, and thank you for bringing all this back to the tires, because that's really the theme of today's event. You've done a great job making bringing fixed ops to the forefront. All right, at the retail level, where the focus has always been on the variable side, and all the bells and whistles that the dealership needs to have there. But in a nutshell, tell us, Kevin, what are the services? What are the things that you provide for a dealership? What are the things that you do best?
Yeah, it's really the best analogy as it relates to our services are this. When you walk in, if you're a service manager, a fixed ops director, a parts director, when you walk in your service drive and you walk in your service lounge, you have all this great point of sale materials. Why it's important to have certified parts. Why using certified fluids is best for your vehicle. What is a multi-point inspection? What are the prices that I actually offer? Most guys, bringing it back to tires, have a tire wall, right? How much a good, better, best price is for a set of 4 tires? Well, we simply take that information and transcribe it onto your website. You wouldn't allow, let's say, bad information inside your service drive. You wouldn't put outdated posters and outdated point of sale materials inside your service lounge. You wouldn't let advertisements go up for the independent right down the street from your dealership. Why would you do that on your website? Why would you spend so little time on your website when it's so difficult today from a consumer standpoint to keep those customers coming in and being active with our dealership, right? Because the competition is such a high level. I referenced this before. On average, there's about 50 plus independent repair facilities in a 10-mile radius of every franchise dealership in the country. Is that by coincidence, or is that their business practices?
That's their business model. Yeah,
exactly. And ultimately, here's the thing that we always talk about. Google gives our dealership, so in this case, Buyers Toyota, Google gives the authority for all things Toyota to buyers, right? So when you're talking about Toyota tires for sale, Toyota parts near me, Toyota oil change services, if you build that content, Google will naturally give you the authority as it relates to the manufacturer Toyota. So it's almost like we've actually gone out of our way not to actually do that and not to build this content. And that's why the independents of the world do such a great job of building organic and search related content, because they know we haven't been asleep at the wheel. We just haven't been educated enough on what we can get from it.
Yeah. So you provide this for dealers, and you help the dealer do it on their existing website. Would I be correct with that?
Yeah, everything is built within the framework of their CMS. All the content is unique. All the content is built within the actual framework and native HTML. So it's not code injected. It's not duplicated content. All these things are what are the best practices in the eyes of Google. Unique content versus duplicated content.
I wanted to ask you about that because you referenced that duplicate content. I think it was what,
yes,
75% you mentioned in one of those slides.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like for example, Ford is a big one, right? And let me just say this: sometimes it's better to have some content than none, right? But there are OEMs like Ford and Toyota that have done a good job at the OE level or the tier 1 level, pushing down a handful of pages that are service and fixed ops related, right? But the problem is that if you were to copy and paste a paragraph on, let's say, the Ford oil change advice page, you'll find every single Ford dealers in the entire country pop up organically when you just copy and paste that first paragraph. So really the goal for us is it's just like building a home, right? When you're talking about building a home, you want to build a solid foundation. You don't necessarily want to pay somebody to build a quarter of your foundation, and then the minute that you pay them or the minute you end that business relationship, they pull it back away from you. Your house would fall over. It's the same scenario in this case. This content actually lives in the native CMS. It's inside the HTML of the actual website. That's why it ranks so well. That's why it drives so much more traffic.
Kevin Kulma, everybody, Chief Operating Officer and co-founder of Fixed Ops Digital, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. His information is not just on the bottom of the screen, but you can also find it in the virtual event program. You can get a hold of Kevin by the website, by email, his phone number, everything is in there. Kevin, thank you so much. We're honored to have you.
Thank you very much, Ted. Appreciate the time and appreciate the ability to actually speak to your great audience at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Hi, I'm Ted Ings, and welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And we've got an exciting panel coming up this afternoon. It's the Technology That Works for You and Your Customers panel. And we're so honored to have with us today some distinguished retail people here and our good friends from MyKaarma, Matt Bateman and Corey Roberts. Corey, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hand it off to you and tell us a little bit about what we have coming up.
All right. Well, really appreciate it. Gene and Ted, thanks again for the opportunity for MyKaarma to host a panel discussion that we feel has a lot of merit. As you may have mentioned, it really is, in summary, is technology. There's so much of it. What really works? So to the legions of viewers that are out there that are experiencing the Fixed Ops Roundtable, I'm confident that the panelists that we have today are going to give you some insights that really positively impacting their business, and perhaps maybe a stroke of luck for you to listen into. And we welcome Michelle Shelton of Nilo Mini of the Nilo family out of Sacramento, California. So thank you, Michelle. Secondarily, Michelle just waved there, Rusty Reeves of the Hendrick family in the BMW store in Charlotte. We also welcome Randy Brobson from an area that's kind of my heart, the Tidewater area of Virginia, but of the certainly the Hall and Mile One family, and Randy oversees their customer information center with a lot going on. And then last but not least, but we all know the energy from Mark Mickens of Mercedes-Benz of Paramus and the Lithia family. So here we go. We're about ready to kick off this topic about technology. We at MyKaarma believe that it's really about these exceptional interactions that add up to an exceptional service experience. And why should we do work to do work? So we're going to talk about that, and each one of our panelists have some thoughts and perspectives, and really I think some things that once again are really going to kick off some things for you. But there's another gentleman on the screen here that Ted mentioned, our moderator and our vice president of marketing here at MyKaarma, that is going to go ahead and lead our discussion, Matt Bateman. So over to you, Matt.
Corey, thank you. Really appreciate it. Ted, Gene, thanks for letting us have this panel today. And panelists, thanks for being here. We're really, really excited about this. As Corey said, MyKaarma is all about exceptional interactions. And we believe that starts with the technology in a dealership. But it's more than just saying, do we have technology? What I want to talk about with you today is the technology that really honestly works in your dealerships. What's working for you? What's working for your teams? What's working for your customers? That's what we want to find out today. We've got a little bit of time here to talk about it. I've got some questions for each of you, but please jump in, add your own input. So I'm going to start with a question to Michelle. Michelle, I'll ask you a question, but Rusty, Mark, Randy, everyone, jump in as well, add your color as well. And so with that, Michelle, you're first up. And my question to you is really about something you said to us the other day. You used the term a 360-degree view of communication in your dealership. And I love that. Corey and I have been talking about that for the last couple days. I want you to expand on it. Can you tell us what you mean when you say a 360-degree view on customer communication?
Sure, yeah. I completely believe in it. I've been using that term from the very beginning. So communication is key, as we all know, in the dealership. The telephones can be an antiquated way of communication, right? I mean, I myself have called other dealerships and find it impossible to get through to the person that you're trying to reach. So with MyKaarma as a technology tool, it starts with the service appointment reminder the night before. Okay, so that goes out in a mass text, and you can set up the text to send out whatever time in the evening you'd like it to go out. And then from there, you get the welcome text. And after that, you get your video. And then after that, if the advisor is with another customer, they can use a text template to say, I'll be with you shortly with the customer. I'll be, reach out soon. I'll reach out soon, so that the customer is not waiting for, someone to contact them, and their mind is put at ease. And then after that, when the work is done, the invoice goes out, the online payment link is sent, the payment is received, and then 24 hours after that, the follow-up thank you text is sent to say thank you, hope everything is good, just so that you know you may be receiving a survey. And all of this equates for us, for our store, to a 10% increase in CSI.
Wow, so you're attributing the communication piece to a 10% increase in CSI?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. You mentioned phone calls and text messages. What percentage of your communication do you think is happening through text at this point?
A lot more now. I would say probably 40%. 35 to 40% probably.
Wow. And has that uptick happened this year in 2020, or when did you really see that change?
MyKaarma.
Okay, when you brought MyKaarma in. Okay, nice. That's great to hear.
We had other texting tools, but it was this is what I like about this tool is that everything is automated. So the tools we had before, the advisor would need to have the upfront conversation with the customer to let them know you will receive a text, and then they would need to go in and send the text. And if you weren't completely bought into that way of communication, it's just not going to happen all the time.
So Michelle,
go ahead.
One more question for you. I'm glad you're using MyKaarma. That's great, of course. But just, the process, how do you get your team to adapt to start using text messages? How did you get over that hump? Because traditionally, advisors, technicians may not want to be using that. How did you get that happening in your dealership?
It has to be easy to use. So the customer has to receive the welcome text and know that this is the number. This is how I can communicate with my advisor. And so when that happens, the customer communicates via text, and it's the most simple way to do it. I mean, they can pick up the phone and call, but it's just the technology made it simple to use.
That automated piece is really what kind of kickstarted it.
Automated, and I find too, as you're going through the communication threads, there's voicemails.
Yeah.
Who wants a voicemail? Customers don't want to have to call someone and then get a voicemail, and you still don't know what's going on, and then that if you don't hear from them, you're going to have to call them again later. I mean, you don't want the voicemails. You want the easy communication.
Yeah. Rusty, I saw you nodding your head on that when she was saying the ease of communication. What does that look like at your dealership?
Yeah, and piggyback on what Michelle's saying, my advisors bought in really, really quickly because of the ease of it. It's an automatic opt-in with the welcome text. That was a key part of us too. It's just, we've used tech services before as well. And, having the advisors having to start that initial process was something that was a little challenging. I'll say too, with MyKaarma, it's the reporting aspect of it real well. It does really, really good too. We're able to watch and kind of see what everybody's doing. And then it didn't take long either for the customers when they started getting this service, and they bought in really, really quick. We got immediate feedback from that, and advisors started seeing that and understanding that and realizing that, wow, this is, like Michelle was saying, it's a super easy tool that kind of goes, that it brings the customers kind of, even though they left our dealership, it brings them back in the dealership and kind of lets them understand what's going on and how things are happening. And, just the whole ease of process with all the way out to the bill pay is something that we've lacked at our store and been needing for a long time. And our customers love that because then it expedites the pickup process. There's not a line in an advisor's office, which advisors appreciate as well. We can just we coordinate our time, and time management is so much easier now with this tool that we have. But yeah, it's with my advisors, they just immediately bought into it just because of the simplicity of how the product is, and it is just so easy to use. So
I think that's the key, right? Randy, Mark, would you guys agree? It's got to be easy to use. It's got to be a push situation. Send it to the customer automatically, and then the conversation starts.
Absolutely. Who doesn't text now?
Right? Yeah.
And in my store, for whatever reason, youth is king. I have a lot of young people that work here, and it didn't take much they wondered why we were calling people in the first place. So, to put a text messaging system in to contact the customer, it wasn't really hard for us.
I think it's easy for the customer. It's very simple for that customer. They can give us a call and we can text them right back, and then they start learning it's easier to text. So I think it's easy for both. I think that's why the buy-in is so great.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Thank you. Let's move on to the next topic. Rusty, I'm going to start with you on this one. When we spoke last, we were discussing the power of video, And you said something which I've been thinking about actually all morning. You said, I'm gonna mess up the quote, but something to the effect of, once you saw the power of video with your technicians, you realized you should have invested in it even earlier. I'd love to hear more about it. I think you even used the phrase, you realized you'd left money on the table by making that decision. I'd love to hear from you, what impact video has done for your store and why you made that statement.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's something I kick myself every day when I do the math with the uptick of the ROs, it's just the success rate we've had in the past in the old school way. When you walk a customer out and you show them what's going on visually with the car in the shop, up in the air, on the lift, whether it's in the service drive and you do a walk around, you pop the hood, things like that. Is the power of seeing it versus talking about it on a telephone is just night and day. And yeah, I mean, it's our increased, dollars per RO has, I mean, we've probably increased $200 or $300 an RO with the video usage. So another big thing on the video as well, and something that, when you talk about how do you implement these things, because obviously now I've got to get a technician that's going to buy into doing a video. And we all know technicians, that's not their world, right? They're not the customer facing people. So the biggest thing I got feedback from them is I now have more control of this situation of getting back to the customer. I don't have to worry about, I've got to have this intermittent person that I'm recommending an oil leak that has to go to an advisor that has to interpret that to a customer. I can now take that from me to the customer. And that has been huge. And that's where my technicians, they immediately just love the idea. It made them feel a whole lot more important in the role of what we're doing here, because they've got the voice. They've got the voice through the video to the customer. And then you've got the customer that's looking at it and saying, wow, that's what's going on with my car. I had no idea. And that just starts the whole process. And on top of that, the advisors know once the video goes to the customer, now the advisor's on the clock, which guess what that does? That speeds up the process with that, with getting a response back to the shop to get the technician working again, right? So they're not waiting on, a recommended repair that's sitting on their desk for 2 hours to call someone. So once the customer gets the video, they're on the clock. The customer is going to call back fairly soon saying, hey, I just got this video. What's going on? How much is this going to cost to take care of this problem? But so that's been huge with us, and our technicians absolutely love it. They just, I mean, there's guys out there that I just had no idea would buy into this deal, and they're leading the way. So it's been really good. It's a huge deal for us.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Mark was telling me a story. I spoke to Mark just briefly yesterday, and he told me a story about he was walking through his dealership, and he was walking in the courtesy area in the waiting room, and lo and behold, he had a conversation with a woman and a few of his guests. So, Mark, share that with us.
It was just the other day, and we just surpassed all my technicians do video. It wasn't always a complete buy-in to start with, but now our September report showed we did 100% every quarter, which was we were trying to achieve. And that includes Express and mobile. So even our mobile service vans are doing videos, which really helps out the customer in their house when we're in their driveway. So it works out pretty well. But had a customer here. We didn't take the store over only about 2 years ago. So we have some customers that were coming to the store before we owned the store, and I had a really good, interesting conversation with a customer. And she stopped me and said, I really love what you've done with the store. And I said, well, thank you. And I said, what particularly do you love? And she said, well, I love the text messaging. And she said, I really love the videos you send me. And I said, oh, that's great. She goes, because I'll tell you why. She goes, I never trusted you before. She said, you could tell me, I never believed you. But when they sent me that video, I had to believe you. So I thought that was pretty powerful stuff, and it's really cool to see the people waiting in our waiting area. The videos pop up on their phone while they're sitting there waiting, which is pretty good stuff too. So yeah, I thought that was a really good story. Made me feel good. I think the trust factor with the customer and the CSI is going to explode in a positive manner when you do things like that. I think we're earning more customers.
I agree with that too, and I know Michelle said that earlier too. It's been huge with our CSI. We've had a lot of even social media feedback with customers talking about. I love the new implementation of the video. Like that's just a next level deal with us too. So yeah, it's been huge for us as well. And I've got a lot of similar stories like what Mark's saying. Walk in the lounge and you see a customer watching their video in the lounge, and this other customer's like, "Where's my video?" So I'm ready for mine. But yeah, it's good stuff.
That's great. Michelle, you were going to say something. Yeah.
The quality of the video is amazing. It's very clear and clean, and the audio is good, and it's there for 7 years. I mean, they're all, anytime you want to see it from the last visit, or if you want to resend it, or it's right there. But I just want to say that the quality is very, very good.
I was going to ask this as a follow-up to the group at large, but does the quality make a difference, in terms of the resolution when you're trying to show something or show damage or scratches or something?
If I may, it does.
Yeah.
Some of you have been here. It's a big place with a 4-lane service drive. We check in anywhere between 90 and 100 cars a day, and we started using the walk around, the check-in feature on the walk around check-in, and that really, the clarity of that, when it comes to damage and scratches and things of that nature, the clarity is, unbelievable. And in the shop too, with the technician, you can really see what a customer needs when they zoom in a brake pad or a tire depth.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I think 2020 has become the year of video. Look at us. We're all on a video together. We're doing videos with our friends and family, and every one of you said your technicians are leaning into using videos. I'm going to keep it rolling here. Randy, I want to turn the conversation to you. You were using a term when we talked last, CIC, your Customer Information Center, instead of BDC. And even, I talked to Corey afterwards and I said, Randy was mentioning his BDC, and he goes, no, he wasn't. He was talking about his CIC. I want to hear more about it, and I think our panelists and viewers want to hear a little bit more about it too. Can you tell us about your CIC and what you're doing to make it actually work and why you call it that?
Yeah, well, we failed at most BDC, so we decided to give it a different name. That was the truth. But it is a customer information center. We process 4,000 to 5,000 phone calls, texts, and emails a day for almost 60 dealerships. So anytime that customer is in that service need point, we're the key point. We're the contact center. So the thing that Kaarma helped us do is that because we answer the phones for the service department, 60% of the calls that we had to handle were transferred to the store. They were, can you give me an update on my car? Is this car covered under warranty? Those kinds of things. And we needed to reduce that somehow. So the technology that Animesh and the team was able to put together for us to handle the customer and the experience for our agents and our advisors made a big difference.
So you're saying it used to be about 60% of those calls that came in got transferred to the dealership because the information center didn't have the right information to answer them.
That's right.
And what does that look like today?
40% of the calls we get automatically go directly to the store.
Oh, so okay, wow.
So we've reduced the call volume in the call center tremendously. It's people cost when you're answering the phone. The employee is the cost. So if we can reduce the times they have to answer that phone, it helps. But the real difference with what ended up was that when the car's in for service and the call comes in, the call needs to go to the person that can answer the customer's question. What's the status of my car? What's going on? Needs to be to that advisor. So when the car's in service, either the text, the phone, or the email go directly to the advisor. But we've got it set up that after 14 days, the customer sends back in some more information, maybe on another car, or needs an oil change 6 months later. That information comes directly to us in the call center, whether they call or whether they text or email, and we handle it from there. And as soon as that RO is opened, it switches ownership to the advisor.
Wow, I'm sure your advisors appreciate that after a couple of weeks, the calls getting offloaded back to the information center as well.
I think they appreciate more of these the customer has getting to them while their car's in service. That updating that they've struggled with for years, and the information the customer wanted from them was hard for them to get to, and Kaarma's solved that. And we always talk about it being a texting tool, but it's really communication. It's text, email, call. It's all there together because we have lots of customers that still call us. That's their first response, and our first response is to text back the information, which speeds a lot.
So you're pushing them to texting, even if they have a phone conversation. You say we can also text, and you drive that.
No. When they call and leave a message, if we don't get them to them, the answer is text back. We don't chase them down. So it makes it easier for them to get their answer, even though their first instinct still, because they aren't trained as well as we are, is to pick up that phone still.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. Randy, that's awesome. I'm going to keep it going here. Mark, I want to turn to you. I haven't been in your new building, but the photos, the video I've seen, it looks beautiful. Congratulations on the new facility. I like the idea that someone said the best part of the new facility was the videos, not the beautiful lounge they're in. But when we spoke, you're passionate about special order parts, and this is an area that I don't know a lot of dealers are taking advantage of. I'd love you to tell us a little bit about how you're leveraging special order parts as a profit center right now.
Well, I mean, it's not only as a profit center, but it's also it's a profit killer. Anybody that's in the parts business, and you got the #1 guy coming up soon, Fred Beans. If you order a special order part, that means it wasn't in your inventory. That's hence the name. So, if you don't hang that on the car that you ordered it for, you own it. And, it plagues a lot of inventories across the country. It doesn't matter what manufacturer you represent, parts inventory, obsolescence grows when you don't put parts on cars that you don't normally stock. It's just, it's a pretty simple formula. And, we recently went with the SOP tab in Kaarma in the platform. And it's a direct, once we seed the parts in CDK, if it's a special order, we seed it into CDK and Kaarma pulls the information over. It takes about 15 minutes in our order in the morning. And it's visible to everybody that was involved in ordering that part, service advisor, BDC rep, and technician. So, and that also goes for cars that we don't release. So if we have a car that's on a lift waiting for a part, the next morning, the technician could go on and check and see if that part actually arrived, and then they can go up to the counter and get it. So, we like to think that we're going to, anything we order is going to get hung on the car. You don't want most dealerships struggle with, sending, SOP parts back on good return money, right? You want to use your return money for things you want to use your return money for. It should be on special order parts. So getting them on the car is really important. So having that tab and having the visibility, because the first thing that goes by the wayside is once the car leaves and the repair order is closed, if you don't have a great communication system, and I've been working on SOP part systems for 20 years to try to get something that actually works, and it's just out of sight, out of mind unless you put it in front of somebody, and the tab really puts it in front of you. So that we've been successful with it already. It's really a great app for us.
That's great, Mark. Thanks. Team, I've got a rapid fire question. We're getting near the end here. A question for each of you. 2020 has been a different year, unlike any year I've ever seen, unlike any year any of us have ever seen, even in our industry. And we've changed a lot of the way we're interacting with our customers. If you're like me, you're really optimistic that 2021 is a much more normal year. But some things I think are going to change forever. And what I'd love to hear from each of you just briefly, looking at these interactions, whether it's people working from home or we're doing touchless delivery of vehicles or even interacting at a distance within the dealership, what's something you've implemented this year that you think is going to continue on beyond a pandemic, beyond the strange world we're in? What new process do you think you'll keep going? And, Mark, since you were last, I'll start with you first here and we'll go around.
Mobile service and pickup and delivery. I don't think that's ever going to go away now. I think it's going to be a staple of our business, and we've gotten out in front of it, and I really think that I don't think that's ever going to change. I think people have gotten used to some portions of our customer base. They've gotten used to not having to come to the dealership during this whole thing, and I really think that again, with your platform, being able to send somebody a payment link, when you're working in their driveway, and a video, I think it's just, I think people are going to actually like that. And I don't think it's going to be everybody, but I think it's going to be a big portion of what we do going forward. I don't think that's ever going to change again.
Yeah. If I can get groceries delivered to my house, you can probably come pick up my vehicle as well, right?
And it's just become that.
Yeah. Michelle, what about you? What's something from this year that you think is going to continue going forward as a new technology adoption or process at your store?
The online payments is definitely something that is something that the customer likes, and it's easy for them. They can pay online, and I actually don't have a cashier anymore. I was able to eliminate that position, and my advisors are. Yeah, so if you're looking to reduce your head count, that's something that will happen there too. So the advisors are their own cashiers, and we do 30 to 35% of online payments, and that number continues to grow. So I think I don't do the pickup and delivery, but I know that that's something that in our industry is going to be needed. So I know that's probably coming for me soon for this store. But the online payments has been a huge deal.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle. Randy, you're next on my screen here. What are you going to keep?
Well, the biggest thing that's changed for us since we have 50 people in a room handling calls for 60 dealerships, that ended very quickly early on in COVID. They're all sitting at home. We were fortunate to have the technology and work with you guys and make sure that we can have that internal communication easy, even though they're sitting at the house. So I think that's something that's going to happen for us. I don't think we're ever going to see our room full anymore. We may have a few people from time to time in here, but I think we're going to have all our employees at their homes for a long time. I think that's a change we're going to continue.
And now you could hire people based off of getting the best people, not based off of their proximity to the office.
You're exactly right.
Yeah,
you're exactly right.
By the way, Randy, I just noticed you've got the CIC shirt on too, so it's on brand. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Rusty, I'm going to ask you the same question. What are you going to keep going into 21? What tech is going to keep working for you?
Well, going last, they all took my answers. So all of the above. No, just it's just the convenience that the customer's experiencing now, I think, is huge. And it's through bill pay, it's through pickup and delivery, it's through everything like that. And another thing too that we've learned through all this is, the kind of humbling factor of what we went through, and we had to grind to keep the business flowing and to keep work flowing, and that was something that I think we all learned from, and we kind of got back. We were maybe spoiled in a way, but now that we've had to work for it, and it's been good for us, and I think we've been successful. But MyKaarma was it was perfect timing for us because that was introduced at our store right when all this happened. And it helped us get through that. And it was kind of like, Michelle, Mark, and Randy said, it was kind of a perfect tool to have for the situation we were dealt in 2020, and looking forward to 2021 and continuing this relationship with them.
Rusty, thanks. Thanks, everybody. Corey, Ted, I'll turn it back to you guys to close it out.
My comments are real quick, everyone. Thank you, panelists, and thank you, Ted, for giving us the opportunity to share some of their observations and their experiences. I think we all know that technology is a major investment, and it shouldn't make you do work to do work. So really appreciate your thoughts and observations, and again, hope the rest of the panel and Roundtable got some good ideas out of this. So Ted,
hey, Corey, hey, Matt, this sounds like technology that really works for you and your customers. So it really is. I want to thank Randy. I want to thank Rusty. I want to thank Michelle. I want to thank the coach, Mark Mickens. Mark, thank you so much how's the team doing this year? Because I remember you gave us a big pep talk at our early Fixed Ops Roundtable where you won the Best Practice Award.
Well, it's the youngest football team I've ever coached. We graduated a lot of seniors, so we're pretty good, and it's good to watch for the future. It's a shortened season due to the COVID. We're lucky to be playing, doing anything. So every day we get to me is a positive day. So we're a year away. So it was a good year to be a year away, to be honest with you. So, but I'm enjoying, old young guys. So it's pretty good.
Mark, in many ways, like the car business, we're all looking forward to 2021 and what's next. But we've all learned a whole lot this year. The team from MyKaarma, thank you so much, everybody, for being a big part of the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Well, Ted, it's always great to hear from the folks at MyKaarma and the Technology That Works panel. And now we have another great group coming up.
That's right, Gene. Heath Mayer is the founder, president, and CEO of Serve Automotive. And everyone will recognize back David Spisak, the president and CEO of Disruptive Growth Solutions. Gentlemen, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it. And I personally, I'm excited. At DGS, as you probably know, Ted, we work with a lot of vendors out there, early stage, mid stage, late stage. And this is a solution that I think is just desperately needed. It is perfectly timed because one of the biggest headaches I hear from my dealer clients over and over is working with outside vendors. And so I'm happy to be sitting here with Heath Mayer, as you said, founder and CEO of Serve Automotive. And Heath, thank you for having me. And I wonder if you wouldn't mind just starting by just letting everybody know, where did this idea, what was the inspiration for this product?
Sure, David, and thank you, Ted and Gene and David. It's always good to see you again. Really, it dates back to, if we go back a little bit in the past, David, it goes back to a company I started years ago called On-Site Dealer Solutions. On-Site Dealer Solutions was an outside labor vendor that fixed a lot of pain points for dealers. They came in and they hired us in the originally to be detail, make ready, porter, and it was strictly a labor business. Can you do the training, the hiring, the firing, the management of these critical employees that are the last people to touch a car in a delivery process, a service ticket or whatever. And once we got in and started to get really good at that, it became extremely apparent that not only did we have to have good labor practices and good services to our customers, we had to build a process. We flow charted. We did so many things to try to figure out, how do we actually do more to make everything faster, seamless, to get these essential vehicles to your customers better? And what we found out is there wasn't a process. There wasn't a way for a vendor to come in and work directly with a dealer, from fixed ops, which always gets pulled in the beginning, to the sales tower, which is always under pressure, and ultimately to the controller's office that's got to wrap all this stuff up. So Serve was literally created to solve a problem for an existing business, which was on site.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that overview. And, I know as a former dealer, I felt that pain, just trying to track down my cars. I'd ask the used car manager, when's these cars going to hit the front line? Let me find out from service. And they'd call and try to track down the car. The service manager and our fixed op director obviously is trying to figure out, trying to basically be the air traffic controller, and I just imagine this flow chart you're talking about before you came up with this solution probably looked like a bit of a mess, because you're trying to deal with 5, 6, 8, 10 or more vendors. And then there's communications between them. I'm guessing between at least the fixed op director, service manager, advisors, used car manager, and probably even the business office, right?
That's correct. That's right. So when you start at the fixed ops desk, you're going to see cars coming in on the new car side and on the used car side. And those cars have got to come in, and they are an asset that needs to be deployed out to the sales team. So there's a PDI that needs to be ordered. There's an RO ticket that needs to be ordered. And then there needs to be a clean. There needs to be a photo. Same thing on used cars, regardless of how it's acquired, whether it's purchased at an auction unit or a trade unit. They've got to get back. They've got to get it UCI'd. They got to figure out what it is they want to get their rates on, their markups on, what they want, how they want to make their money, and then how are they going to push that vehicle out to the used car desk so then they can get any cosmetics or recon that needs to be done to that car at a timely fashion so they can get it photoed, they can get it online, and most importantly, they can get it in the hands of their salesman so they can sell it. So there was pressure building from both of those departments. And then from there, you got to track it. You got to find out where the car is, who's got their hands on it, who did the work. Maybe it was satisfactory, maybe it wasn't. How do we get back to that? And then how do you travel all of that, those people, all those hands, all those different dent, bumper, windshield, whatever it is, carpet. How do you get that up to the controller's office so they can close that ticket, get the car closed for month end, and make sure everything was accounted for?
Yeah, and I've been in my controller's office many times and been in other dealerships' controller's office. Boy, and if you get there at that time of the month where they're at that time of the month where they're working on financial statements or working on payables, and they've got a stack of invoices this high. And for any of us who have been working with outside vendors there working on our cars, they all have their own process. They all, some handwritten tickets, there's POs, in the office, all the office cares about. They're not worried about the car, so to speak. It's not their job, but they are worried about making sure they pay the right person the right amount of money. And I got to make sure that somebody approved that ticket and that the amount is right on that ticket and on the invoice, and that the job's been completed. So, let's break it down. You have seems like you got three different main stakeholders. You got a used car director or manager. I got a controller, office manager, or CFO, and then I got a service manager or fixed op director. So let's start with the used car manager. So how does Serve Automotive improve that flow chart? How does Serve Automotive simplify the life of a used car manager who just wants to know where their car is so they could get it on the front line and make some money?
So what we learned from the very jump is there is nothing that the dealer provides to all these different folks for that used car manager to try to get that car ready to go. It's all provided by whatever vendor they decide to go to, or however internal technician is going to do that work. So you have a myriad of systems, and the used car desk or the sales tower, they don't have time to get up and go look at cars. They don't have time to sign invoices, create work orders. They don't want to do stuff that doesn't create a profit activity. They've got too much on their plate to get these cars, to handle ups, to handle the salesman, whatever they're doing on their day-to-day job. So the data entry, the tracking, the double checking that the vendor did it right, that's just bad business for these guys. So we created a process that really kind of, if you back up, starts at the fixed ops and it flows through. The vendors have to follow the dealer's system. You make them work the system as far as that the cars are put out, they come on, they assign it complete, they take the approved work. It moves through the process as the vendors work it so that the information is pushed to the used car manager without him having to do the work himself.
So I got to jump in, Heath. So this is a big pivot for everybody. I think big thing that strikes me. So up until now, we're dealing with 5, 6, 8, 10 vendors, and we have to work around their processes, their availability, and we have to rely on them to show up on time, make sure that their drivers are, have a license, right? That they have a certificate of insurance. You're telling me that instead of this, the vendors now are almost like they're becoming Serve certified. If they want to do work with me at my store, and you want to continue to bill me 5, 8, 10, 15, 20 grand worth of business, and I'd be happy to do that. But now it's going to be on my terms, and everybody's going to use one process so that I actually know where my cars are, who's touching my cars, is it on-site or off-site, and so forth. True?
David, you're right, because think about it. You're the dealer. These are your assets. This is your lot. This is your expensive real estate. This is all on you. And the traditional setup that OnSite has been a part of, and since Serve, the traditional setup was, hey, I really like the way this vendor works. We're going to go with a paper system, a Google Doc system, all kinds of different systems, a myriad. Everybody's got their own system. and you work around how the vendor does it. No, the better way to do it is, if you want to be my guy, if you want to come in, you're going to follow this process that we put in, because I'm the important person here, not the vendor. So put the dealership back in charge using that one system, that one way of saying, if you want to be my, for example, guy who comes on here and touches up the bumper paint, you're going to take the work that's in this system, you're going to apply it, you're going to take the, you're going to accept the work, you're going to bill the work. It's all going to look the same, whether you're doing a dent or whether you're doing carpet repair or a bumper. It's all going to look the same for everybody in the dealership, but now they are following your process versus you working with them.
Okay, so I'm the fixed op director, service manager. We start the ticket. That goes into serve, integrated with the DMS?
Yes, absolutely.
So that makes it easy. I don't have to do redundancy. I don't like redundancy. So I put that in there. It pushes through. Now I know whether it's going to be my own internal tech or if it's going to be an offsite vendor. But as far as I'm concerned, doesn't matter. The process is the same. True?
True.
True. So then it goes from there. And so serve is going to allow me to see how many techs, internal or external outside vendors, are on my lot, who's off the lot, who's available, how many tickets are open, what tickets are being worked on, total visibility of the entire process, right?
You nailed it. And you're not having to push that through the process. The vendors are assigning, completing, and invoicing, and that's going to update your dashboard. That's going to update where your vehicle status is without you having to mess with that.
And one thing I did like a lot on this process is I remember it had almost a FedEx-like approach where I could see, hey, this is the picture of the person who the car was assigned to. Here's when it was assigned. Here's when they started it. Here's when it was completed. And if I'm not mistaken, Heath, if I remember right, as soon as that job is completed, that invoice gets transmitted to the office. And it doesn't matter if it's the windshield person, wheel person, bumper person, paint person, carpet person. Now, all of those invoices essentially have been self-reconciled. They've been already documented to be approved and completed. And so I don't have to deal with that nightmare in the business office. And every invoice looks the same. True?
True. And you set the parameter. Does that office, does that back office, does that controller want to see an invoice every single day? Do they want to see a weekly invoice? Do they want only 5 cars on an invoice or 10 cars on an invoice? They set the parameter. Same with the statement date. When do you want the statement to come through to match however they want to pay bills or whatever the case may be? It's identical, regardless if it's a global company or if it just happens to be a really good local vendor that everybody wants to use. It's all going to be uniform now. And by the way, the dealer's going to control this, but the vendors are going to pay for this. This is going to be their right to come in and do these cars. They're going to support this system because now they're going to benefit from the organization. The AR is going to be cleaner. They need to get paid. The dealership wants to pay timely. They don't want over remittance. They don't want chargebacks. They don't want to go back and adjust sales commissions on deals, VINs, whatever got missed in a deal jacket. So now it's going to be much cleaner. But now this is not a system the dealer is going to have to manage. They're going to push it to the vendors. The vendors will pay for the right for that. And now everything will be uniform when she needs to close out that month.
So, I mean, that's a big deal, what you just said. And so the dealer's not going to pay for the system at all. The dealer's going to benefit from a uniform approach, uniform process, uniform invoices, everything reconciled, better communication, better transparency. And I don't pay for it if I'm the dealer. And I've got to ask, I mean, you'd think, well, all right, if I'm a vendor, what if I push back and I'm saying, well, I don't want to pay for this. So, but based on what you're saying, if I'm the vendor and I'm not going to walk away from $5 grand, 10 grand, $25,000 a month in work for as long as it's a reasonable amount of money, you know, for me to pay. But it sounds like there's also other benefits for the vendors. It sounds to me like it also will elevate their own business, help them get paid faster, eliminate the headaches, and they don't have to track down the office manager or controller or show up in the office and say, hey, here's these 50 invoices. When am I getting my money? right?
Dave, this was built for a vendor.
Okay.
Keep in mind. So all of these benefits we're talking about was for the company that needed to, that was doing thousands of transactions a day. So it absolutely is a benefit. It makes them better. It made us better. So that's part of what you're touching on is it is a benefit for the vendor, and the vendor world is used to using dealer systems. There's just not a system out there that's ever had them do this before.
And Heath, I remember you showed me a screen that basically almost looked a little bit like it was very Uber-esque, right? It showed me the vendor, what person picked up the car, when they picked it up, how long it took them to get back to their shop, how long it took them to come back. So I have some accountability there, but it seemed like you could also use it, or dealers were using it also with their own porters or shuttle drivers, delivery, say if somebody's doing pickup and delivery. Is that true?
On-site valet business is up 150% in 2020 because you need contact-free services and you need valet services. People are expecting that that white glove experience, if you will. So when everything is pushed through for the dealer, it's done on a mobility app, which is scan the VIN, push it through. The same thing with those valets. You can see how fast they're driving. You can set their schedules. Wow. You can see who's on, who's off. You can communicate with them. Now you can actually track those porters and valets when they're on the lot and when they're off the lot, and what are they doing when they're not on your lot.
Wow. So obviously huge upgrade. I mean, guys, could you imagine what would FedEx or UPS look like if they were run the way that our current vendor system was run? Hey, go back and touch all of these boxes. Hey, go back and tell this guy where the box is. Can you imagine? We wouldn't have overnight packages. We would have 1 month delivery and we'd be excited about it. Right. And that's if they could find the box to begin with. And we've all been there. So it sounds like huge upgrade in terms of transparency, communication, accountability, legal. Let's face it. Want to make sure that people picking up the cars are legal, have licenses. Great for contactless, it sounds like as well, Heath. Anybody that's doing contactless deliveries, sounds like it would be a huge help there. But all the way around, this just sounds like such a tremendous product. I think it's really exciting because I do believe it's one of the biggest single pain points that I hear from every fixed op director and service manager and controller and used car manager out in the industry. It's sure been great to hang out with you, Heath. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to take a look at Serve Automotive. And I think the product, if I'm not mistaken, is actually going to officially go live next month, right? In November?
That's correct. It's currently being operated on a test basis and it's going to be ready to go.
Heath, so where do they go if they want more information or they want a demo? Where do they go?
You can go to www.serveautomotive, SERV automotive.com, and that should take you to wherever you need to go.
Great. I see that Gene and Ted are back on the screen. And Gene and Ted, man, great conversation. Great to hang out with Heath. And as you guys know, as well as anybody out there, it is so exciting to see ingenuity and innovation constantly coming in to solve big, real problems out there. So thanks for letting me join. I appreciate it.
David, you beat me to the punch. So everyone, you can get a hold of Heath at www.serveautomotive.com. Also, in the Q&A today, as we wrap up, Heath, if you'd be available, just to interact with some of our guests and our audience. I'm sure they'll have some questions. Dave, I think it's a perfect product at the right time, and the need is so deep, you know.
And no cost. Come on. I haven't heard that. I don't think I've heard that. And I've seen everything in 2020. I haven't seen that.
I love it. Great stuff.
Thank you.
Heath Mayer and David Spisak, thank you so much for being with us here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. And Ted, let's welcome back Kara DeLaine and Ben Price.
All right, that was an amazing lineup we had just there. You know, we haven't talked about it a lot, Kara, but you know, you and I and a lot of people today are wearing these special buttons. You know who that's for, of course. Oh, you got them all. Oh,
I have all of them.
These are the Tully buttons, Tully Williams.
I love them.
And you know, Tully Williams says this thing where it's all about the hours. and he is probably one of the most amazing presenters. He won the very first Best Practice Award when we did this a year ago back in Los Angeles. So he was the runaway winner, and he's been a big part of our show, ever since. So we're supporting him here today.
Now I can see why we're wearing him on our shirts.
See that? Exactly. Hey, let's bring back in Ben Price. Hi, Ben. Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack. Well, the last guy that said hi, Jack, to me when I was flying on an airplane got into a little bit of trouble. But thank you for having me here, and I can't wait to watch what you got here. I believe you got some great speakers, a few good men, and so I believe this is as good as it gets. So let's do it.
All right, great. Kara, who do we have next in the lineup?
Up next, we have Fred Beams. Then we have the Service Scheduler panel with Team Velocity.
Vendor management is a nightmare. Controllers, how often have you wasted time keeping track of disorganized vendors, reconciling stacks of inconsistent paperwork? Service managers, you're juggling third-party vendors wondering who's on which project or whether all work orders have been approved. Used car managers, your vehicles lose value while stuck in the shop due to inefficient vendors. Ready to stop wasting time, energy, and money? Introducing Serve, a comprehensive solution to all your vendor problems. Controllers enjoy a single accounting system with all vendors billed the same way. Invoices are automatically generated and reconciled using full DMS integration. Increase transparency and accountability to a new level while reducing legal exposure. Use your time to focus on every dollar spent. Service managers know exactly who is working on which cars, who approved work orders, and how long each step takes. Let our system track progress so you can get the job done faster. Used car managers benefit from improved service efficiency. Get your vehicles out to the front line before their value depreciates. Serve includes a platform for your vendors to become Serve certified. Dealerships receive peace of mind knowing their vendors are trained and have correct insurance and license information. Even brand new vendors can be known quantities. Serve's user interface is simple, intuitive, and powerful. The main dashboard breaks down your departments by vehicle, work orders, and available techs. Our work order page shows the progress of every order by vehicle, including the worker and job status with an easy barcode for scanning the information. A line item view shows all your work orders together. No more guesswork. Know exactly where your orders are. Our live vendor portal is your home for financial information. Controllers can view how many work orders have been submitted and how much they've billed with one-click contact for managers. Invoice Control displays all your invoices for any period of time with totals underneath. On the left side, see every car or work order ever done for a vendor. All invoices are filterable by VIN, stock number, and more. In today's changing world of valet-type services, Serve's Live View puts your porters at your fingertips. Check availability, schedule new trips, and effortlessly track times and efficiency. From invoicing to employee management, Serve handles all your vendor needs. By making life simple, everyone benefits, including your vendors. Serve Automotive. Simplify your business today.
Hey, welcoming back now a great friend of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. It's Ron Overs, the publisher of Fixed Ops magazine. Ron, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Hey, thanks, Ted. I really appreciate that. You know, we've been working really hard through this whole pandemic to make sure the dealers really see, what they need to do to, really hone their business down through this whole process. The last issue that we had, I'm sure everybody has a copy of those. We delivered almost 40,000 of them. And so that everyone in the fixed world has had an opportunity to see what needs to be done to really optimize their business through this whole process. And our next issue coming up, as you will see, we do much of the same. It's the end of the year type issue. So it's hard to say, let's reflect on the past year and think of happy things, but we'll talk about some good things that did happen and, forecast into the future what we're looking for coming up. So it's a lot of fun to find the 10 best articles, to get that story across and make it happen.
It's such a pleasure working with you. One of our friends for the Roundtable, Jim Sabino, who's the Fixed Ops director at All American Automotive Group up in New Jersey, called me just a couple days ago and said he just got his latest issue and was flipping through it. And he said he was going through the stories and who the authors are. And he said, Ted, I can't help but but tell you that a lot of the folks who speak at the Roundtable write for Fixed Ops Magazine, and those who write for Fixed Ops Magazine also appear at the Roundtable. So it's been a really great 1-2 punch working with you, and I'm very excited looking forward into 2021 and what's in store.
Well, Ted, and you and I have talked, and I think anyone who wants to reach this audience, this is what you need to do, right? You have to be live with you with the roundtables, and then the follow-up is the staying power of the Fixed Ops Magazine. The idea that this is produced every other month, so 6 issues a year, and it stays in the service department, for those 2 months until the new issue comes. In fact, I walk into service departments and find 6 issues sitting, in their waiting room or sitting on the desk. So it is something they read, reread, and if you're advertising, you're going to get your message across to them. If you're looking for a better way to do business, you're going to find the answers between your and my programs. So it really is the perfect 1-2 punch, no question about it.